Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hey everybody, welcome to today's Wellness and Weight Loss Wednesday show. We're going to be talking about body transformation. We're going to be talking about weight loss here today, but of course, always from a health perspective. You don't need one more person telling you to reduce calories and to exercise more, right? That's not going to be my goal here for today. I'm assuming by now you've heard that you should eat less calories and burn more through exercise. What I want to do though is just refine that, but actually give you the main reason why you're not losing weight if you're already trying the dieting and if you've already been doing the exercising. So just keep in mind that if you over diet for too long, you're going to harm your overall metabolism, which is we're going to talk about here today. Now, if you're not exercising though, you're most likely missing out on the long-term results. Because exercise not only promotes a stronger metabolism, but more balanced hormones, which is what we're going to dive into right now. So again, my recommendation is if you've been dieting for a long time, you can't continue to diet. You really can't. You're only harming your metabolism to a greater extent. And I'll share with you why in just a moment. But second, if you're not exercising, the goal has to be to get you exercising. Please follow my previous podcast on setting up your own graduated exercise program or protocol. I teach that again inside of IHP. What I want to make sure is that you have everything that you need. We can't solve all of these in one podcast, but there's a whole lot of other podcasts that take you through all these different details. Really important that you don't over-exercise, which will hurt your metabolism, but you don't under-exercise, which hurts your metabolism. It slows it, right? So where is it? It's in the middle. It's a sweet spot for you. And it doesn't mean that you start doing a boot camp tomorrow if you're not exercising today. But it does mean that we start walking tomorrow, we get on that upright bike, whatever it is that you can do, and then we gradually start to increase stress on the body. Not too much at first, because that'll make you exhausted, you'll be tired, you'll be sore, you won't want to do it again. But if we gradually do it, your body gets stronger. Metabolism gets boosted, you can actually eat more calories and you'll burn more at the same time, right? That's what we want. That's what we want to get to. But the truth is this, that if you've already been exercising and you've already been dieting, I want to look at what the real truth is to what's holding back your weight loss results. And that is hormones. It is hormonal health. I've had the pleasure of working now and overseeing close to 300,000 client appointments and well over 400,000 plus at-home lab tests. So we have so much data and everybody fills out a questionnaire. What are your main symptoms? What are your main complaints? And I get to look at all of these, especially when they run a specific lab called the stress, mood, and metabolism test, which looks at stress, overall mood, right? And your metabolism. And I get to see which symptoms are the highest for what individuals. And when an individual says trouble losing weight, I know what then I'm looking for on that specific lab. And I want to share with you the exact findings of what we find 90% of the time. So this is it. A lot of people have shared the first one with you before, so I'm just going to cut right to the chase and I'm going to get to that one, then we'll get to the others. The first one, and first and foremost that you should be looking at is thyroid. Here's the problem. You go to your PCP. Now, again, not every PCP is like this, but you go to your PCP and they run your TSH. And they run your TSH and the normal range, typically on a lab test, is 0.5 to 5. That's the range, right? Some are even a little bit more functional, which is 0.5 to 3.5. But we know that that's not optimal. We know by the time your thyroid has increased past 2.5, your metabolism has already started slowing. So TSH stands for thyroid stimulating hormone. It's a great first step, but run alone tells you almost nothing. And that's why all your doctor has to give you then is a prescription for levothyroxine or some other thyroid-based medication. Even if it's compounded, I get it, but why not figure it out why it's low in the first place? So what we also like to run in our practice is what's called free T4 and free T3. Because if your thyroid is elevated, but you have strong, meaning TSH is elevated, and that actually means that your thyroid looks like it's lower, but you have good T4 and you have good T3, it just means that your body most likely is under a greater state of stress. Okay, well, good. We kind of caught that in the beginning. We can fix that. We can improve that, right? And your thyroid's good. But what if we run your TSH and it is a 3.5, or it is a 4, or it's even a 2.75? Okay, and free T4 is just moderate. It's okay. And free T3 is low. Okay, well, that means your active thyroid hormone is low. And you're going to start to get then symptoms of weight gain, water retention, thinning hair, thinning of the outer edge of the eyebrow, dry skin, low mood, brain fog, and potentially high cholesterol, right? And if that sounds like you, and your doctor doesn't think that you have low thyroid, again, I would look at it from a functional-based perspective, a true integrative perspective. So we're going to go on. All right. After that, thyroid might be an issue. It may not, because it's not the only hormone that actually regulates metabolism. Cortisol is another big one. So again, you go to your PCP and you say, hey, can I run my cortisol levels? And they say, sure, we'll run it on your next blood work. So they run your typical blood work, and you run it between 8 and 10 in the morning, which is when you should run your blood work, and the only time you should really run your blood work. And then your PCP says, hey, your cortisol looks totally normal. And you know what? They're probably right. But the problem is this: they did not look at your 24-hour cortisol. You need to look at cortisol not as a one-time snapshot. Okay, it might be fine in the morning, but then it's actually low by noon, low at 5, and then high in the evening. That's a problem, because you need low cortisol at night to have proper sleep, proper fat burning overnight, better regulated glucose, right? Which now brings me to glucose. So if thyroid is off and or cortisol is off, then your blood sugar levels almost certainly are off as well, because cortisol and, to a degree, thyroid help to regulate steady and stable blood sugar. Not super highs and not super low. Not reactive hypoglycemia, which is low blood sugar jumping back up to high, and not high blood sugar staying elevated so you can't burn as much body fat during the day. All of that needs to be looked at. Hemoglobin A1C, and obviously insulin, which shows, are you high insulin? You don't want to be producing insulin all day long. It can lead to a lot of issues, especially in women as well. PCOS, and many others. All right, so now let's talk about a vitamin that is crucial to helping with thyroid, with the adrenals, and with glucose. And then the hormones we'll talk about in just a second. That vitamin is vitamin D3. If you don't know your vitamin D3 levels, yet you're struggling to lose weight, it could be low levels of vitamin D. I know that seems hard to believe, because vitamin D is such a simple thing to supplement with. The problem is, if you're not supplementing with it, but you're not getting the sunlight, right? Because most people wear suntan lotion or whatever it is that they're wearing, so you're not getting a tan most days of the week. There's very few foods that actually contain a decent amount of vitamin D. So where are you getting your vitamin D? You're not. Someone told you that vitamin D3 supplementation was bad, the sun is harmful, and so there's nothing you can do, right? Of course, that's not true. So the problem is this, that now you have low vitamin D and it's affecting your blood sugar, your hormones, and much more. Okay, so that's an issue. The last 4 are all tied together. So I'm going to talk about them together. There is estrogen levels, progesterone levels, testosterone levels, and DHEA. They all work together. Basically, it starts with DHEA at the top, and it can move in any direction it wants. If your body is more stressed, then there may be more of a shunting towards cortisol, which we spoke about before. But you know how it normally flows is dihydroepiandrosterone, that's DHEA, moving towards testosterone and then estrogen. And in a healthy, balanced system, a balanced amount will move towards progesterone to balance estrogen. But in an unhealthy system, one where there's inflammation and weight gain and low metabolism, we typically see lower levels of testosterone, lower levels of progesterone, lower levels of DHEA, and higher levels of estrogen, or at least estrogen-dominant levels, which causes water retention, weight gain, irritability, bloating, oily skin, and adult acne. So when we look at all of these and we say, interesting, I may have some of those symptoms as well. Well, the truth is, typically, there is more than one issue. That's the frustrating part, is you think that it's thyroid, so you start to work on your thyroid, but yet it was estrogen dominance as well. So this is now, this may seem complicated, but it's not. The problem is no one has most likely ever shared it with you because everyone has this little niche that they want to help you with. Oh, I'm the thyroid person, or I'm the PCOS person, or I'm the estrogen dominant person, or I'm the high cortisol person and the burnout person. And again, I appreciate all of those. I really do. We need all of that education out there. But we can't look at things with tunnel vision. We actually have to look at things as a general practice, as a united scope. We call it integrative health practice. There is no one form of medicine better than the other. There is no need to make any patient or client fit into a tiny little toolbox that is what you have to help the person with. They come in with elevated levels of TSH, so everybody goes on either a compounded form of thyroid or they go on a prescription thyroid. Again, maybe they need that, maybe they do, but most likely it can be rebalanced. I mean, that's the truth. Most likely scenario. And even if you're on those medications, you can still work on what is the rebalancing that needs to be done. And I have so many free shows on thyroid, so many free shows on estrogen and hormones. I have in-depth courses at stevencabral.com/courses. However you want to approach this topic, you're welcome to. But if there's one thing I can recommend, it is running a specific at-home lab test with your naturopathic doctor, your integrative health practitioner, or with my team over at Equalife. And to be honest, it does not matter to me. I just want to make sure you get the help that you need and deserve. That's the truth. So I'm going to share with you what it looks like, and then you can run it any other way that you want. It's totally up to you. So, called the stress, mood, and metabolism test. It looks at your estrogen, progesterone, the ratio between the two, testosterone, and DHEA. Okay, those are needed for both men and women. This is for men and women, not just one, okay? Then it looks at cortisol throughout the day. Upon waking, you spit into a little tube for saliva, then before lunch, another tube, then before dinner, and then before bed, and that's it. And now you know your cortisol wave throughout the day. If you're having trouble sleeping, it will show you if it's cortisol related. Then you do a simple finger prick, just like you take your glucose levels. You do that in the morning, and it will tell you your free T4 levels, your free T3 levels, right, for that thyroid. It will tell you your TSH. It will even tell you your TPO antibodies to see if there's more of an autoimmune-based issue going on. Then it's going to tell you your vitamin D3, what level you are, if you're not just if you're within 30 to 100, no, but if you're optimal, which is 50 to 70 or 50 to 80, okay? Then after that, it's insulin and hemoglobin A1C. This will tell you not maybe what's going on, exactly what's going on with your hormones. It's not just for people who want to lose weight. I run this every single year myself as part of the Big Five Labs, but it is for people specifically that have tried the dieting before, they've tried exercising, and they're still not losing or gaining the weight. And this looks at a deeper dive as to your hormones, what is going on with your metabolism, because we know your hormones, including insulin, help to dictate your metabolism. I will link up the test today. It's at stevencabral.com/2686. I'm going to link up to it. You can go directly to it at stevencabral.com/hormones-test. I believe that's it. I want to make sure right now that is it for you. But remember, you do not have to run it through our team. We just want to make it available to you. We ship to 27 countries all over the world, but you can also run it within Integrative Health Practitioner Level 2. You can find them at integrativehealthpractitioner.org or your local naturopathic doctor. So your choice. I'm going to link it all up today at stevencabral.com/2686 or a direct link to stevencabral.com/hormones-test. Let us know if there's any questions. We're here to help. We appreciate you. We thank you for the support. Take care. Have an amazing day. Did you know that the body really only becomes sick or imbalanced in only two ways? Over time, you become deficient in vital nutrients, and you also accumulate toxins internally and from the environment. As those nutrients diminish and you increase your total toxic load, your body then begins to show the first signs of dis-ease. It's actually quite predictable, and the good news is that if we know how you began to fill up that proverbial rain barrel, we also know how to empty it to begin the healing process. I was fortunate enough to learn this ancient healing process from my mentor after suffering from debilitating diseases for close to a decade. It was only when I began to implement these techniques did I finally overcome my illnesses and go on to live a life of energy and vitality that I now enjoy. I'd like to share with you now what I discovered after traveling all over the world and how to combine the best of ancient healing wisdom with state-of-the-art science. Allow me to teach you exactly how I've been able to help over 250,000 people to empty their rain barrel and begin to transform their body and lives into what they've always hoped they could be. To get your copy of the international bestseller, The Rain Barrel Effect, simply go to stephencabral.com/rainbarrel.